reports right now of Ukrainian agencies hit by a possible cyber attack. And you can see that the market has come down off this news, too. 373 points on the Dow right now. Here now to discuss it, Republican Alabama Senator Sen Tuberville. He sits on the Senate Armed Services Committee. Senator, good afternoon to you, and always good to see you. Let me start by some of these reports that are floating right now that the Senate is eyeing a possible resolution in support of Ukraine. What exactly would that look like?
Well, first of all, the president has the ability to do it on his own. Now, we've had Democrats and Republicans working together in the Senate to try to come up with some kind of sanctions, but don't think for 1 minute the president doesn't have that ability to do it at any time. We've waited too long. You just heard the cyber attack starting in Ukraine. That's probably the beginning. This morning we heard there was troops pulling out. You got to remember, they've had troops there for several years. They've been fighting across the border. There's many thousands that Ukrainians that have died because of snipers. All those things have been going on. So this could be the start, all the cyber, because they will go in with cyber first to try to shut down things. Hopefully it doesn't happen. Hopefully there's no loss of life. Hopefully we don't get too involved in this, and we shouldn't. You know, we shouldn't really have any troops over there. This is obviously a NATO problem. We're in NATO, but the European NATO needs to take care of this. There's a lot of things that are going to happen probably in the next week, next few days. We just hope everything works out for the best for the people in Ukraine and for people in Western Europe or Eastern Europe, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens, Jackie.
Yeah, and the president has discussed economic sanctions. He said if Russia invades, he will impose extremely harsh sanctions, but he's waiting for that if moment. He's waiting for the invasion to happen before he would take action. And there are so many who have said he's already let this go too far, that the sanctions should have been imposed yesterday, last week, whenever, just in the rearview mirror.
Well, you're exactly right. Leadership. You know, we have to have strong leadership. They'd have never done this under President Trump. He'd have told them straight up, hey, this is what's going to happen. He wouldn't have waited around for Congress to come up with some sanctions to put on the side after the fact. But the thing that we've just got to remember now that Ukraine, when I talked to the president just a few months ago, I went to Ukraine, sat down, talked to him. He says, Senator, we don't need troops on the ground here from America. We just need some help. And so we've given them the help that they need in terms of small arms, missiles, those kind of things. We can't control it. I mean, this is a situation where Russia's going to have to make up their mind whether they're going to do it or not. But the one thing that I think will pay the price for Russia is Nord Stream 2. And at least the president says we're going to do away with Nord Stream 2 if they go into Ukraine. So hopefully he keeps with his word.
He did say that, even though it's not necessarily in his control at this moment. And I think about that press conference with the German chancellor in that moment where he was asked about Nord Stream 2. He wouldn't even reference it by name, but he said that he would stand with the United States. And this goes back to your point about NATO as well and our European allies trying to do more. That was one of President Trump's gripes as well. We don't see the Europeans stepping up to the plate. What can we do about that?
Well, you're exactly right. President Trump stayed on NATO when he first got in office and had them pay their fair share because they hadn't been doing it for years. And now President Biden's in there. He needs to hold them accountable. But we can do things with Nord Stream 2. You got to remember now, it's not certified. We can put penalties on the companies that try to certify this pipeline. We can put penalties on the insurance companies that try to insure this pipeline. We can do a lot of things to keep this thing closed down. It's not ready to go. It's not pumping gas or oil. But Russia's only claim to fame, so to speak, is the way they make a living is off their energy and their gas. And if we can somehow put a stop to that, if he comes into Ukraine and we can stop that energy and gas and shut their economy down and put some ties to Putin's wealth, I think that'll hit him where it's going to hurt pretty bad.
Yeah, and another thing President Trump did to help us with our overseas foes was make sure that we were the world's top energy producer. And now under this administration, we're not. There is a long list of things the president could do. Senator, we will see if he chooses to do any of them. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Good to see you.